Naomi Campbell just broke every fashion rule in the book and looked absolutely flawless doing it. While most celebrities scramble for the newest, most exclusive designs, the legendary supermodel did something unprecedented at Cannes 2024. She reached back nearly 3 decades into fashion history and pulled out a move so bold, so personal, that it left the entire fashion world speechless. The moment itself was pure fashion theater. Last year at the Cannes Film Festival premiere of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, Naomi Campbell showed up in a masterpiece of black sequins and pearls. The gown had a sleek, sequined body, delicate pearl straps, and a dramatic skirt with sheer, striped tulle panels that showed off her world-famous walk. It was a showstopper, designed by the late, great Karl Lagerfeld for Chanel. But this wasn't just some vintage find. This was personal. This was the exact same Chanel haute couture gown from the fall 1996 collection that a 25-year-old Naomi had debuted on the runway herself nearly 3 decades earlier. This is the story of how this dress, worn 28 years apart, became a quiet testament to Naomi Campbell's incredible place in history, a woman who stands at the crossroads of high fashion, pop culture, and the British royal family. It's a story about a hidden bond with Princess Diana and an unexpected endorsement of the man who was once her husband, King Charles. So how on earth does one dress connect them all? To get it, we have to unravel the story, one thread at a time. Now, rewearing couture is a statement, but rewearing the couture you premiered? That's a power move on a whole other level. It's a declaration of staying power, of relevance, of a legacy so deep you become your own reference point. Styled by the visionary Law Roach, the 2024 look was a clever, powerful update. The slip worn under the sheer skirt in '96 was gone, swapped for simple black briefs for a more modern, daring vibe. The sleek, cropped hair from the original show was replaced with a cascade of epic curl. It was a moment that celebrated not just a dress, but the enduring power of the woman in it. But the story of this dress goes far beyond its own seams. It's a story about Chanel itself and its complicated, layered history with the world's most famous royal family. Section 1. A queen of the runway, a king of couture. To really get the weight of this dress, you have to understand the relationship between Naomi Campbell and Karl Lagerfeld. In the 90s, Naomi wasn't just another model for Chanel. She was one of Karl's muses, a defining face of an era that completely revitalized the historic fashion house. Lagerfeld was a genius at fashion alchemy, taking the classic codes of Coco Chanel, the pearls, the tweed, the interlocking C's, and hitting them with a dose of modern, often rebellious energy. The fall 1996 haute couture collection was a perfect example. On one hand, it was seen as a tribute to Coco Chanel's elegant 1930s style, but Karl just couldn't resist his signature twist. The semi-sheer panels and the deliberate reveal of undergarments? That was pure Karl, a playful, provocative wink hiding inside a classic design. Naomi was essential to bringing this vision to life. Her presence on the runway was a mix of ferocious power and unmatched grace that defined Chanel in the 90s. Choosing this specific dress was a direct tribute to Lagerfeld's memory and her own part in writing fashion history. The rewear in 2024, put together by Law Roach, was a masterclass in what's now called archival storytelling. In a world of fast fashion, wearing vintage is a powerful statement about sustainability and a love for heritage. It says you have a deep knowledge of fashion history that goes beyond fleeting trends. When Naomi Campbell rewore her own Chanel, she wasn't just recycling a look, she was claiming her authorship over it. She was reminding the world that before it was a museum piece, it was hers. She made it an icon. This act alone cements her status as a queen of the runway. But the choice of a Chanel gown specifically has another, more touching layer of meaning, one tied directly to a friendship with another icon who had a very different and very painful relationship with the brand. Section 2. The Princess and the Painful Logo. To get the deeper meaning here, we need to talk about someone who, for a time, famously avoided wearing Chanel. Her friend, Princess Diana. Naomi Campbell and Princess Diana had a real warm friendship. Campbell has spoken about her with great affection, calling her humble and down-to-earth. She once said, "Loved Princess Diana, I just loved her. I'm just blessed to know her for the time that I did." Their bond was genuine, and it even led to that now famous story where Diana plotted with Naomi and fellow supermodels, Christy Turlington and Claudia Schiffer, to surprise a teenage Prince William at home. William himself later said he was completely and utterly awestruck. This friendship is the key to understanding Naomi's Chanel moment. Because while Diana happily wore Chanel during her marriage, things changed after her painful and very public divorce from Prince Charles in 1996. The reason was heartbreakingly simple: the iconic interlocking CC logo. For Diana, those two letters no longer stood for Coco Chanel. They stood for Charles and Camilla. The Australian designer Jason Brunson, who worked with Diana in 1996, told the story of suggesting a pair of Chanel shoes to go with her Versace suit. Diana's response was instant and firm. She said, "No, I can't wear linked C's, the double C," Brunson recalled. When he asked why, her answer was quiet but clear. "It's Camilla and Charles." The logo was a constant, painful reminder of her husband's affair. For a woman whose every outfit was analyzed, wearing a symbol of her private heartbreak was out of the question. She was a master of speaking through her clothes. The famous revenge dress is proof of that. But after the divorce, Chanel, with its unavoidable logo, was a story she refused to tell. By choosing to wear a Chanel gown, a brand so tied up in her friend's public pain, Naomi Campbell seems to be making a quiet, powerful statement. It feels like a nod to the complex legacy of her friend, an acknowledgement of that history. It's almost as if she's reclaiming the brand in the name of friendship, celebrating its beauty while honoring the memory of Diana's complicated feelings about it. But if the dress is a nod to Diana's past, the story takes one more surprising turn, connecting it to her ex-husband and the monarchy's future. Section 3. A surprising alliance with the king. So, if the dress is a tribute to Naomi's own history and a touching acknowledgement of her friend Diana, where does King Charles III fit in? The connection is unexpected, but it's powerful. It isn't found in history or heartbreak, but in a shared modern value, sustainability. For decades, King Charles has been a passionate champion of environmental causes and, specifically, sustainable fashion. Long before it was cool, he was pushing a buy once, buy well philosophy. He's famous for wearing clothes for decades, choosing to repair and mend his favorite items rather than tossing them. He has explained his philosophy at length, saying, "I happen to be one of those people who'd get shoes or any item of clothing repaired if I can, rather than just throw it away." His old suits and patched-up jackets aren't about being cheap. They're symbols of a deep belief in craftsmanship, longevity, and responsible living. Through his charity, the Prince's Foundation, he's even launched programs to train students in the skills of sustainable luxury craftsmanship. Now, look at Naomi on that Cannes red carpet again. Her decision to wear a 28-year-old couture gown is the absolute peak of high-fashion sustainability. It's the living embodiment of the very principles King Charles has championed his entire public life. It's a powerful rejection of the throwaway culture he's so often criticized. This act elevates the dress from just a vintage piece to a statement of shared values, aligning Campbell with the core ethos of the new monarch. This alignment is also backed by a real-world working relationship. Naomi has met Charles on several occasions and has praised his work. More formally, in 2021, she was named a global ambassador for the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, a role supporting youth-led projects across the Commonwealth nation. In taking the role, she spoke of her passion for lifting up the next generation, a goal that lines up perfectly with the King's own charity work. So when Naomi chose this dress, she was weaving all these threads together. She was celebrating her own legacy, honoring her friendship with Diana, and in a surprising twist, championing the sustainable vision of the new king. One dress catching the camera flashes on a red carpet in the south of France. On the surface, it's a moment of pure glamour, a celebration of fashion and fame. But underneath, it's a story written in silk and sequins. The gown is a tribute to Naomi Campbell's own royal legacy, a queen of the runway, forever tied to the genius of Karl Lagerfeld, coming back to a look she herself made famous. It's a quiet, knowing wink to her friend, Princess Diana, acknowledging the painful history Diana had with the very brand Naomi now wore with such pride. It's a story of friendship and memory, a way of carrying a legacy into the future. And finally, it's a surprisingly powerful alignment with the values of a new royal era. By choosing a vintage piece, a dress with nearly 3 decades of history, Naomi Campbell made the ultimate statement on sustainable fashion, echoing the lifelong philosophy of King Charles III. It just goes to show how a single piece of clothing can be more than just fabric. It can be a biography, a memorial, and a manifesto, all at once. It connects the high-wattage world of haute couture with the intimate, human stories of friendship and heartbreak, and the grand, historic narrative of the royal family. One dress, decades of history, and a silent story of friendship, loss, and a surprising royal connection, all wrapped up in one of the most iconic women to ever walk the earth. What do you think this fashion moment says about the power of clothing to tell stories? Does it change the way you see this dress? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into fashion history, please give this video a like and subscribe for more untold stories from behind the scene.